Discord apparently wants to merge with your crypto wallet. Although this is a proposal, they haven't done it yet, but you're going to connect to your MetaMask wallet from Discord. Now, I was just remember a guy last week said that he went on Discord and somebody stole his apes, his NFTs. Seems like this would make that even easier. But anyway, they want to integrate your crypto wallet into Discord. So we'll see what benefits that might have to justify the obvious security risks. Maybe that will come to nothing. But everybody's jumping on board to NFTs just like they've jumped on each wave of the previous thing. Cryptocurrencies have a new thing that appears every 6 months, and everybody jumps on board, and 6 months later it's gone and forgotten. So the latest one is NFTs. We'll see if they actually last more than a few months. The last I heard, they were already crashing, but a lot of people are still jumping on. So again, Visa says crypto is now cool because of NFTs. Actually, I must say, in the world of cryptocurrency, NFTs make a little more sense than most. As some way to invest in art, owning art has always been kind of financially insane. You own something, anybody can easily get a copy of it. Having the original has no apparent real value except just sort of the prestige. So maybe they're right that just having a record on a blockchain is enough to get the prestige of being it. And in some ways, it's only for rich people who just want to support artists the way they used to. I don't know. So here's something. Like we're trying to have vaccine mandates, but these guys have figured out you get free sex with the vaccine. It's in Austria. So that's a new alternative. I don't think they're doing this in America yet, but it would be a way to maybe get more people to get the vaccine. I know they'll give you a free shot of booze and a free beer and a free donut and stuff like that. But this is taking it to the next level. Yeah. All right. Anyway, this was a very interesting Pew Research study showing what the United States reputation is in the world. And this is something Donald Trump campaigned on all the time, is that he would, I think somebody else gives you joints for getting a jab. That's right. So he would improve the America's reputation, but of course he did the opposite. And but anyway, that's why I think these survey, I tend to agree with it. They say the thing that America is really good at is technology, entertainment, the military, and universities. But we're really bad on standard of living, health care, and democracy. And in particular, the most exciting one was this one here. Is the U.S. a good example of democracy, or it used to be a good example, but it has not been in recent years and has never been a good example? And the middle category is by far the big winner. Most people feel like the United States used to be a good example, but it has gone way downhill in recent years. And it's no longer a good example to where, it's an enormous number of people, looks like 80% or more in almost every country agree that the United States is no longer a desirable model of democracy, which I think is pretty much undeniable. All right. And I see a defect in my amateur theater here. And the delay is pretty bad today. My goodness. Okay, so it is over on that side. Oh, I think I see the problem. There. All right. So, this one, good. We made it a little bit into the news, so more of the students will be here. This one might eventually end up in projects in this class if I have time. The New York City coin. I saw launched, and there's already a coin from Miami, which I saw but didn't pay attention to. So they're launching a coin that's going to be tied to the city. I don't think it's officially produced by the city, although none of the things is very clear yet. But this kind of makes some sense. I guess I'm slowly learning how this works. You just have to have something famous with a good reputation. Then you tie a coin to it, then the coin will go up. And tying it to a city would probably work in that regard. And the thing that caught my attention here is that these coins, as opposed to being ERC20 tokens wrapped on the Ethereum blockchain, like all the other coins I know of, these are on Bitcoin. and Bitcoin was not supposed to support smart contracts, although it has some room for some data in each block. And so there's something here called the Stacks protocol built on top of the Bitcoin blockchain to enable smart contracts. And I was very interested when I saw that, because in this class we talked about Solidity and we talked about Glow as a better language, and I know there are several other new languages that are intended to replace Solidity, so I looked into it, and this is just the stuff that belongs in this course. I may not be able to get it running this semester, but here it is, Stacks, a better internet built on Bitcoin. It is like a side chain, a separate blockchain somehow connected to occasional items on the Bitcoin blockchain. And you have a separate blockchain connected to Bitcoin called the Stack Bitcoin, and you earn Stack Bitcoins by mining that, and it's somehow set up so ordinary people can mine it, not just people that have special devices. And they have their own special language called Clarity, intended to be a more secure language than Solidity. And they got tutorials and everything, and even an online sandbox to try to do Clarity. And Clarity, among its other properties, is interpreted, not compiled. So the source code is put directly on the blockchain and executed as source code to make it easier to audit in principle. So it will be interesting to see how good this is and how popular it gets. It was being endorsed by the New York City mayor. Well, it's made by some random folks not connected. Well, yes, that's the part that's not clear, but I suppose you could think of it as just like a New York City souvenir. Like, I think you could make models of a famous bridge or building in New York City and sell them to tourists, and you don't need permission from the mayor. But it's nice to sort of be endorsed by the mayor, But I don't think it's going to be something done officially by the New York City government just yet. But the mayor ran on a pro blockchain campaign. He wants to make it into a hub of cryptocurrency projects, sort of like San Francisco is. He wants to promote the business that will come. Makes you wonder if I register something from SF. Yes, it may be wondering the same thing. Maybe we should have an SF coin. I mean, if Miami has one and New York City has one, I don't see any reason why San Francisco couldn't have one. But none of those others have really happened yet, and I don't really know exactly what the benefit would be. But anyway, it does seem like San Francisco is one of the great iconic cities of the world, and people might want to buy the coin as a souvenir, the way other NFTs are. I say it makes a little bit of sense to me. It's great. It's just great that by naming it after the city, that's right. Well, the point is, this mayor is like a pro-business mayor, like Ed Lee was here. And he just wants to bring in any kind of business, and he sees, crypto as another high-tech business that could be coming in supporting the economy. I think that's his interest in it. Anyway, so we'll see. Well, yes. Well, I mean, I think how to capitalize on it is, I think that's the trick. It's very much like launching a career as a comic or an actor. You just have to somehow become popular. So you could make it, but if you don't do it right, nobody will care and it will just go down. Like if you have a band in your garage and you're trying to get famous, you have to make the right connections with the right people and get promoted somehow. This is basically show business. The technology part is the part I know about. I'm not really knowledgeable about the show business, but it really is sort of a form of entertainment and show business. It seems like the best way to look at it to me. Anyway, so this was pretty amazing. Elon Musk put a poll on Twitter a couple days ago saying he would sell 10% of his stock if the Twitter people voted for it, which they did. So he said he's going to do it. And various people are trying to explain why he did that. And what Scott Galloway has been saying for weeks is, and actually years, is that Tesla is overvalued. And it seems very clear. Look at Tesla. Tesla is valued at $350 billion, more than the entire rest of the auto industry put together. And the number of Teslas sold is only 1% of the cars sold. However, Tesla doesn't just make cars. He invests in cryptocurrency. It's connected to SpaceX. He makes the boring machine and digs tunnels for roads. He's now an electricity provider in Texas. Anyway, a lot of people just believe in Elon Musk as this super genius that's worth far more than the apparent cool profit and loss statements of his business would make you think he's worth. But Scott Galloway's assessment of why he decided to sell 10% of his stock is that he knows it's going to fall. And it has fallen by like 15% recently. So this is his way of like sneakily turning some of this into cash before it falls, and doing it in a way where it looks like a stunt so people won't see it as a loss of faith in his company and make the thing fall precipitously. It's hard to say, but I mean, his entire wealth has been in one company, and that's not a good thing. You need to diversify a bit. Anyway, so Tesla has wildly overvalued, has been wildly overvalued for many years, and it doesn't fall anyway. So I think just like NFTs, it is old-fashioned financial analysis of stocks like Tesla don't really work because it has something like a meme stock value. People invest in it out of some belief in it that is not strictly based on like numerical calculations. And so it has a value that vastly exceeds what it ought to have. Yeah, that's right. Showing it's, self-driving is better. Yeah, I see a lot of good comments here. Yeah, that's the thing. Anyway, in the old days, it was real simple. You would just sell a stock at 20 times earnings. So you can figure out what price a stock should have. And in that sense, Tesla's been wildly overvalued for a long time, but maybe we just need a new plan. Anyway, all right. So I just thought I'd mention this. I mean, Paul Gosar's in the news because he tweeted a video which has an anime of him killing Ocasio-Cortez and Joe Biden, and he didn't take it down, and the Republicans did not censure him at all. And this shows the gigantic swing right of the Republican Party, where he's an open Nazi. I mean, he talks at white supremacist events, and they threw a guy like him out of the party about 5 years ago. But ever since Trump got in, being like an open white supremacist Nazi, advocating the violent overthrow of the U.S. government and advocating the murder of your political opponents is now mainstream Republican thought. And they're a violent group that wants to violently overthrow the government, and they're completely accepted. And they only sanction people who try to run the business, like people who voted for the bipartisan bill. They want to throw them all out of the Republican Party now. So it's sinking deeply into madness. Anyway, but one thing funny about Gosar is his own family hates his guts. All of his family made public service announcements saying, for God's sake, don't elect him. And here's his sister condemning him for his latest outrage. Yeah. Murdering opponents is not mainstream Republican. That's an interesting statement. I think 80%, that's an interesting issue. 80% of Republican voters surveyed believed that the election was fraudulent and stolen. It is not clear. I think only like 20 to 30% of random voters surveyed right now will admit that they support violence for political purposes. But that's enough. Once it starts, if they're on that team, they have to go along with it. It's an interesting thing. I mean, I don't think it's true that all Republicans are Nazis, but what is true is all Republicans are now Nazi sympathizers. Anybody who is not willing to be on the same team with Nazi leaders left, and a bunch of anti-Trump Republicans left. Anybody that stays on has said that it is okay with them to be in a white supremacist violent party. They might not personally advocate that stuff, but they don't mind it enough to leave. No, I don't. That's an interesting issue. I don't think the fraudulent election is significantly different from murdering opponents. I think it will lead to the same place. Anyway, so these are very important issues. You're quite correct, but we're just watching the slide. What's very shocking is to compare the Republican Party to where it was just before Trump, when they threw Steve King out for much smaller offenses. They used to have only a small radical fringe that was basically Nazis and white supremacists, and they used to kick them out and say you couldn't say that stuff out loud. But anyway, good. Well, anyway, let me stop this one.